So we made a 14-year bet that only came reality in the last 18 months. So at the end of the day, this has become the top spot on the entire planet for copper exploration.
The Dealmakers Den exists to shine a spotlight on projects with strong economic and financial potential, propelling them towards feasibility and construction-ready status. This is where dreams become reality. The Dealmakers Den transforms the investment landscape into a vibrant battlefield where only the most compelling projects will capture the attention and the investment of Africa's top decision makers. Midnight Sun Mining won the category for critical minerals, and we're joined by Adrian O'Brien to tell us why. Adrian, thank you so much for your time. So let's talk about your company and your project.
For sure. First, I love that part about dreams becoming reality. That's it. It's what these projects are all about. You have an idea, you have a thesis, and you go out and prove it and you make it real.
Okay, and how did you prove it and make it real?
So we have a massive target in Zambia, and there's this one area in Zambia that's become really prolific. It's called the Domes region. So Zambia is well known as a copper producing district. We're talking 100 years of mining history. 75% of their export earnings are copper. You have a President Hichilema's, he's out there, pounding the desk and telling the world that people need to come to Zambia and bolster their industry. The target that we have is pretty special. It's in the middle of the belt. We sit right next to First Quantum's Kansanshi mine, just 6 kilometers away. And on the west side of our property is Barrick's Lumwana mine. Now, the target that we have is the largest and highest grade soil anomaly on record in the country. And we have finally started drilling it, and we made a big discovery right off the bat. So now we're delineating that thing.
You may not necessarily be privy to the minds of the judges, but at a cursory view, why would you think that you won? What do you think was the reason?
I think it comes down to a couple of things. And I was lucky enough to get to chat with them afterwards, just to kind of get some sense of what stood out. And the reality is, in Zambia right now, there's only a couple of players that are in the belt itself. It's not an area that, let's put it this way, if you had come to Zambia today, you would have no chance of getting a property where Midnight Sun sits. But Midnight Sun came to that area 14 years ago. So we made a 14-year bet that only came reality in the last 18 months. So it took a long time. The market had to be right. The copper price had to be right, but we were in the right place at the right time. And that was actually the theme of my presentation. You have to be in the right place at the right time. And when you look at what Midnight Sun is doing today, and you look at what the judges were looking for in this Dealmakers Den, what you have is a situation where you have multiple producers. Okay, you've got Barrick with their flagship mine, you have First Quantum with their flagship mine, and really you have Ivanhoe, Rio Tinto, each with 8,000, 6,000 square kilometers of land. You have Anglo American, BHP, Glencore, Freeport-McMoRan. I mean, name a producer, they're in the area, but they're only looking for a project. They have grassroots properties, they don't have discoveries, they don't have assets going into production. So at the end of the day, this has become the top spot on the entire planet for copper exploration because the deposits are very unique. They're multi-billion ton, they're big, they're shallow, they come right to surface. So they're the only deposits that can actually fulfill the copper deficit that's hanging on the horizon. And at the same time, none of those companies have an asset that can go into production, with exception of Barrick and First Quantum, who are already operators. So if a little company like us comes in and we can delineate and define and deliver a brand new billion-ton deposit on a silver platter, every single one of those companies is going to want it. Okay. And that's the key.
What can we expect from the project in the next 12 months?
So we're doing a few things really unique. One of the biggest things is that we are not drilling our project like a junior. And when I say that, what I mean is that most juniors, when they go into a project, they'll drill big step outs. So they'll drill, every 2 kilometers or every 3 kilometers. And they try to wave their arms and say, oh, look, it's 3 kilometers or 5 kilometers long. We're not doing that. We're going out with the same kind of methodology that a major would take. So we set up our drilling on a grid where our lines are 100 meters or 200 meters apart, and for the most part, 200 meters. And then we're setting up our holes 50 meters apart on a grid, and we're drilling systematically the entire strike length of that system. And so we've already gone out and drilled an extent of 3.6 kilometers since July. We're doing 10,000 meters a month. We have 5 drill rigs turning, and we are absolutely I mean, this is as quick as it gets. So we're defining this thing at sort of a lightning pace, and I think that's the big differentiator. We can get it to the finish line quicker than anybody else has ever done.
What contribution or impact do you hope the project will have?
It's massive. This is a completely mining-centric nation, okay? You have the town of Solwezi that has grown around mining. All of those mines that are in the district, all of those mines in the area are supported by the people that live in that town and by the community that surrounds it. So you're bolstering an entire nation's economy. You're building on an unbelievable, prolific history of copper production and mining production, and continuing to support those communities and continuing to support what Zambia is all about, which is pretty incredible.
What advice would you have to those who are thinking of pitching their projects here at the Mining Indaba next year?
Come in with something exciting. You know, you can sit there and speak to every single technical point in your deck, but at the end of the day, it has to be exciting. It has to be interesting, and figure out what sets you apart and then focus on it.
Adrian, thank you. I look forward to seeing what you do in the next 12 months. For more mining insights, you can go to miningindaba.com.